Hello, everybody. Welcome. We will get started in just a few minutes. So in the meantime, I'll just get started with saying thank you for joining us. We are super grateful for your interest and willingness to support. So your host today is myself. I am a market manager. I look after the market of UK and Ireland in Northern Europe. Svetlana has kindly she's also a market manager for Central and Eastern Europe. She has made a really informative video of how to sign up and how it all works and how you can just do everything. So she has made a video, and then we have Natasha, our community manager. So she's also here to support in the chat and the questions. And we also have from our Airbnb.org team, we have Dupe and Katrina. So they're dialing in from the US, and they are working specifically on Airbnb.org. So the agenda will be just about Airbnb.org, so you can understand the difference between Airbnb.com, what you usually use, on Airbnb.org. How is Airbnb supporting this cause? So what are we doing? How you hosts can help. So how you can do that, and then we'll cover the Q&A. So what is Airbnb.org? So that's the Airbnb.org logo there. As you can see, it's a little bit different from Airbnb. But Airbnb and Airbnb.org are separate and independent entities. So Airbnb.org is a registered 501c3 nonprofit in the US. So it's a fully registered nonprofit organization. Airbnb.org mission is to unlock the power of sharing space, resources, and support in times of need. So it's basically taking what Airbnb does in its normal time and kind of, using that to really help people out in their time of need. It all started with the Open Homes program created by Airbnb and inspired by the generosity of Airbnb hosts, and as a way to help people to find temporary accommodation when they need it. So hosts can support Airbnb.org by hosting for free, hosting for a discount, or donating to cover the cost of stays. So there's lots of different ways you can help out. Airbnb.org works with nonprofit organizations globally by providing funding for stays and unrestricted grants. So there's a lot of stuff that Airbnb.org works on there to help people out when they need it. So what is Airbnb doing to help? So we're contributing, so supporting hosts. So any host that's decides to host any refugees are also covered by air cover, which includes 1 million in liability insurance and 1 million in damage protection. Now, as we know, sometimes accidents can happen, but like any other stay, you will be covered by air cover. So that's peace of mind there. So funding stays. So Airbnb and its donors, all the donors who are donating to Airbnb.org are contributing funds for temporary stays for up to 100,000 refugees fleeing Ukraine. And of course, we're waiving our fees. So Airbnb is waiving host and guest fees and all Airbnb.org stays for refugees. So obviously, we will not be taking any commission from any bookings that come through. How can hosts take part and sign up? So offer a place to stay. So whether you're new to hosting, so if you're brand new, you can set up your account on Airbnb.org, or if you're already hosting, you can offer temporary stays. So, and then we have a video showing you how to do that. All you need to hope for hosting is a clean private space, a comfortable bed, and basic amenities and toiletries. Every donation helps fill a critical need as well for stay. So you can also donate directly to www.airbnb.org if you want to make a donation. And how donating works: so 100% of your donations will go towards connecting people with short-term housing, and stays are completely free for guests of our program. So obviously the guests are not paying anything there at all. And here's a picture of Els. Els is a host in Rome who's hosted refugees through Airbnb. I'm not too sure if you know, but we actually aimed to host 40,000 Afghan refugees during that sort of era. And we actually managed to do that, and we housed a lot of people. So this is just moving on and building on top of that. So what you need to know to offer a place. Again, you can offer your listings at a lower rate or for free. So remember, we won't be taking any commission from your bookings. So that's something to consider whenever you're factoring in your lower rate, and as well as whatever discounts you can afford to give. Airbnb.org is partner checks. So Airbnb.org or its partners check guest eligibility. So like I said, we're partnering with NGOs. We're partnering with one of the largest refugee sort of companies that there is at the minute. And we will work with those NGOs to kind of check the guests. You can review each request before accepting it, even if you usually use Instant Book. So even if you have Instant Book turned on for your regular listings, you can review each request. That means then you can kind of connect with the person who's looking for temporary accommodation. You can make sure that your accommodation is set up for their needs, and that you're comfortable hosting them. And stays can vary in length from a few days to a few weeks. And the good news is if you have active listings on Airbnb.com, so that's just your normal everyday hosting listings, and you open it up for refugees on Airbnb.org, it will also stay bookable to Airbnb.com guests with your usual daily rate. So if you decide to do Airbnb.com like normal and your Airbnb.org, and you want to host some refugees, they can run simultaneously and won't interfere with each other. So that should work out just fine. How it works. So I'm just gonna I'll pause here for any questions or any thoughts coming in. Was there anything I might need to address, or are we good to move on?
Yeah, there was a quick question in the chat. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. So there's a question in the Q&A from Guido. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. I'm sorry if I'm not. But it says, I have an Airbnb listing since years, and at the moment I have plenty of bookings for the next months, but I'd like to make my listing available. How do I manage canceling and or providing the listing only on available dates? So if you have an existing listing and you decide to opt that in to Airbnb.org, you'll see in a second, it's pretty easy to do. And then you'll be managing the calendars for both Airbnb.org stays and Airbnb.com stays through your same calendar. So you don't have to worry about a Airbnb.org refugee guest booking over when you already have a normal booking. I hope that helped.
Yeah, and we can address that again as further. That's one of the Q&As we have. But it's also important to point out that, you never know when and if these needs for a refugee will arise to stay somewhere, and you might get a cancellation. Maybe somebody doesn't want to travel, and then your calendar could open up, and that slot that opens up could fit perfectly for somebody looking to stay. I mean, it's not impossible that could happen. So it's always good to, even if you do have low availability, still to join up, because again, you never know when it's going to be able to help somebody. So great question. All right, so we'll play the video. So this video, again, thanks to Svetlana for putting this together, just as a little demo that shows you how it all works, how to sign up, the different ways that you can opt in your listings. So we'll give that a watch here.
Hi, my name is Svetlana, and in this video I'm going to show you how you as a host can sign up and start helping refugees fleeing Ukraine. We will begin from host refugee button, and at this stage, if you are logged into your Airbnb.com account, you will see the details from your account in here. If you are not logged in, the system will ask you to put in your login and password details. Once you arrive on this page, you will see few options. You will get a choice to create a new listing. Also, you will see your existing active listings here. And if you are already opted into Airbnb.org, you will see those listings here with an option to edit them. Let me talk you through a little bit about the new listing creation. If a new listing is created directly on Airbnb.org, this listing will not appear on Airbnb's regular search results. It will only be visible to refugees. In this case, you can only offer your listing for free without an option to change rates afterwards. Now, why would you want to do that? You might want to create separate listings directly on Airbnb.org to differentiate calendars and set different length of stay requirements. You can also create a new regular listing on Airbnb.com and then make it available through Airbnb.org, as there is no way of moving .org listing to our regular site.com and make it visible to guests other than refugees if you decide to open your new listing up for other guests in future. Furthermore, the option to update daily rates is only available for listings created on the regular Airbnb.com site. Let me walk you through the process of opting in your existing Airbnb listing to Airbnb.org. So you can choose one or more listings. On this page, you get a choice where you can either host guests free of charge or host at a lower rate. For the sake of this example, I'm going to go through the host at a lower rate flow. It is important to mention that you can opt in any type of listing: apartment, hotel, hostel, or even private room. Once you chose which way you want to host, go through the details and click next. On the next page, you can set your Airbnb.org rate. This rate cannot exceed your current nightly rate, and also it will be visible only to eligible refugees. We click next, and here you can choose who you can host: people impacted by a disaster, refugees, and asylum seekers. We'll choose refugees and asylum seekers for this example. Go through the details and confirm. At this stage, you will receive the very same email with the confirmation. From here, you can go into your listing settings and update your calendar or manage your participation, and I will show you how that looks like. When opting in your active Airbnb listing to .org, there will be only one listing in your account available to be booked to both regular Airbnb guests and refugees. Your listing will have the same calendar for both .com and .org stays. That means if it's been booked by regular Airbnb guests, it won't be available to refugees on those dates and vice versa. Also, if your listing has restrictions on length of stay for regular Airbnb guests, it will be reflected for refugees too. Let me show you now how Airbnb.org settings look like. In your listings page, you will not see an extra listing. As I mentioned, it will be one listing. The only difference will be Airbnb.org rates will be visible to eligible refugees only, and regular Airbnb.com guests will see your regular rates on site. Once opted in, you will find a new option under the policies and rules, which is Airbnb.org stays, and you can change your settings from here. In here, you can adjust who you can host and how you can help. You can also change your rate from here as well. One thing to note, currently there is no way to set a discount on your rate. You can only set a fixed fee. And save. If you have a cleaning fee set on Airbnb.com, it will be applicable to Airbnb.org listings. All reduced rate stays get full cleaning fee charge. You can set a nightly rate to 0 if you only want to receive cleaning fee from your Airbnb.org stays. There is also an option for you to sign up in bulk through listings page, and let me show you how that looks like. You can choose which listings you want to opt in and go to Airbnb.org stays. You will always arrive onto this page where you will not see if you already have listings opted in or not. Once you change the status, you can choose who you can host: people impacted by disaster or refugees and asylum seekers. When opting in this way, selected listings will be offered to refugee for free. To update daily rate, you need to select individual listing that is opted in and update daily rate through the settings that I have just showed you. If your listing is API connected, you can still opt into .org and make it available for refugees to book. API sync will not impact pricing on Airbnb.org listing. Once opted into Airbnb.org, the supporter badge will appear on your regular Airbnb account. So that's the listing opt-in flow done. Let me show you now how it looks like from the guest side. Eligible guests will get access to a page like that where they can search for places to stay. For example, if they're looking for a place to stay in Berlin, they will see regular search results in front of them, but also they do get this Airbnb.org stays filter where they can go in and find all listings that are opted in. Once they find the listing, they can get in touch with the host, regardless if your listing is on Instant Book or not. All bookings will come in as a booking request with a message from a guest, and you as a host will get 24 hours to review and approve or decline, same as regular booking requests. For API listings, you will still receive booking requests from a refugee. Once you manually accept them, Airbnb will communicate that to your channel manager and block dates in your calendar. One last thing to mention, if you have selected a discounted stay or stay with your base rate, you will get paid 24 hours after check-in. That's it from me, and thank you for your willingness to help.
Great. Again, thanks, Svetlana, for putting that together. Some really useful demonstrations there. Okay. Any questions that came in there, or are we good to move on?
We did have a couple of questions come in asking if a host signs up their listing and offers a discount, kind of who's paying the remainder of that? Is it Airbnb.org, Airbnb.com, or the guest? So Airbnb.org funds these temporary stays. So if a host or anyone on this call does offer a discount, Airbnb.org is going to be absorbing that cost, not the guest.
Yeah. So yeah, all the money comes from donations from Airbnb.org or other donors that are obviously donating to the cause. So yeah, it doesn't come out of your pocket. It doesn't come out of the or the guest pocket. So we're going to go into some FAQs now that will hopefully answer some more of your questions. How do we know? Do you want to, Natasha? Do you want to ask me these questions?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first question: how do we know who is staying in our place? How can we trust them?
Yeah. So that's a fair question. So bookings can be made by an NGO partner on behalf of a refugee guest or by the guest themselves. Airbnb.org or its partners check guests' eligibility for stays. You as a host will get a chance to review each request before accepting it. So it gives you a really good opportunity to communicate with those guests who are requesting, making sure that if they need anything, or you can ask if they have any needs. What a lot of people have done in the past is partner with neighbors or other local organizations if they're there to for any other things that they might need. But mostly it's just you making sure that they have somewhere to stay.
How long will people stay for?
So there are no length of stay restrictions for .org reservations unless you set one in your listing settings. Stays may be anywhere from a few days to a few weeks. Please note that you will be able to review the booking request before accepting. Very good.
Question: what do you mean by short-term housing, and will there be a limit here?
Yeah, so Airbnb.org is starting by funding and facilitating free stays of up to 14 days for refugee guests. As the situation in Ukraine evolves, Airbnb.org will continue to stay in contact with NGOs, resettlement agencies, and government leaders to understand and help support the specific housing needs of those affected by this crisis. Yeah.
I don't have a lot availability over the next months. What should I cancel or move my existing bookings?
Yeah, so there was, again, that kind of question already came up, but just by signing up to Airbnb.org, you are signaling your willingness to help. You're not expected to keep your calendar open or to cancel existing bookings. If your help is needed, you will receive a request from an eligible refugee guest, depending on your availabilities at that time.
This question also came out a few times. How do I know when my place will be needed by a refugee?
Yeah, very good question. So after signing up to host through Airbnb.org, you may receive a booking request in the upcoming weeks or months. And it is also possible that you may not receive a request at all, depending on the need for refugee stays in your area. So we urge you to remain signed up to host refugees as the need in your area may continue to evolve over time. Please also make sure that your calendar availability is up to date. So if you're managing your calendar manually, just make sure you're keeping that up to date. And I think it's really important to note here that you never know, doesn't matter where you live or how small the village is or how big your town is. You never know if there's somebody living nearby who could be a family member of a refugee who are trying to make their way to that family member and might need temporary accommodation, which would suit them. So again, it's really there's definitely the possibility that could happen. So that's why it's always good to keep signed up and keep an eye for those requests. So the last point then is just for additional resources, and I think Natasha's going to drop this into the chat, is www.airbnb.org/help Ukraine. Thank you for everybody for your willingness to help. So again, we answered all the questions that we were able to answer at the minute. As the situation evolves, we'll continue updating the articles. And like I said, you're definitely better off booking this, as updated articles and information will keep coming through. So some of your questions that we couldn't answer now will probably get answered in the not too distant future. So definitely keep an eye on that. Other than that, thank you, Natasha, Dupe, and Kat for joining us today. Thank everybody here for your willingness to help and for joining the webinar. And yeah, continue to do your best to help out where you can. And that's what we'll be doing as well.